Today I have Supervisor Lisa Bartlett here with us. Boy, and do we have lots of questions for her. Well, hi, Lisa. It's nice to have you here.
Good morning. Great to be with you today.
Good morning. Well, you know, we've met before, and it was different circumstances then. So we find this an ever-changing, episode, if you will. And why don't you tell us, last month when we talked about opening the community and the economy, and things were moving in a direction that we thought we were going to stick with. And then unfortunately, things have changed again. So why don't you just kind of highlight where we're at?
Okay, so we did start to reopen the economy. And that was a good thing because we want to get people back to work and we want to get the businesses open again. But at the same time, we've got to balance that with public safety. And so as we started to open the economy, our COVID numbers started to rise. And on July the 13th, the state announced that due to the significant increase, this is not just in Orange County, but in many of the counties, 33 to be exact, where we've exceeded those thresholds that have been set in place. And so the state basically, in those 33 counties, has rolled back some of the reopening process. So for example, restaurants, we had the ability to dine in for a short period of time. That was rolled back. So now it's takeout, curbside pickup, and outdoor seating on the patio. And then again, with the bars, brew pubs, breweries, those are all basically closed at this point for both indoor and outdoor activities. So we do have some changes, but with the 33 counties, what we're finding is that the counties are really adapting. The businesses are adapting to this new normal. And so while these 33 counties are still on the watch list, we're finding that many of those businesses are adapting in ways we never imagined. So you've got South Coast Plaza and the shops at Mission Viejo, for instance. They're going to have the retail shops, kind of a farmer's market setup outside or in the parking structure. And restaurants are putting out a lot of those deckings right on the asphalt in the parking lots to expand that outdoor seating. So the weather's great, and it's nice for people to be able to get out, go to the businesses that they love to go to, wear a face mask to keep themselves and others around them safe, but to be able to go to those businesses and enjoy a night out on the town again. So it's a matter of finding that right balance. And we're still working through that process. But for the most part, people are they are adapting to this new normal. And they've been really good about the face coverings and social distancing and making sure that they wash their hands frequently. When our COVID numbers started to go up, a lot of folks thought, well, it's because of your skilled nursing facilities. And early on, we did have some outbreaks, but those are now under control. The jail inmate population relative to COVID, under control. And the homeless population through Project Roomkey, that is under control. So now with the COVID numbers going up significantly, it's community spread, which means people out in public spreading it to people out in public.
Right. And I just wanted to go back to when you were talking about the outdoor businesses. You are absolutely right. It is remarkable to see some of the restaurants, and I have been to them last week. So I went to a restaurant in my community that totally took over 4 parking spots, built 2 decks, and had chairs and umbrellas. So I'm assuming that is part of the city that is allowing that to happen. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. And the same with Laguna Beach. We've got, they have the promenade now where they close that one street. So it looks as though exactly like what you're saying is people are adapting. So that's awesome. And then people are wearing their mask when needed. And I know that our residents are doing a really good job of that, but I know they're all going stir crazy because they'd like to get out and about. So seeing things like this, that they're accommodating people like this, is encouraging because they can go out.
Yes.
So good. All right. So you mentioned, okay, we didn't talk about fitness centers and things like that. So are those are not opening up yet?
That is correct. That was part of the rollback.
Right. Okay.
Now the fitness centers, along with some of the other personal care services, So there were some guidelines that were set in place on Monday at the governor's press conference
Okay.
for personal care services, hair salons, barber shops. If you can, as a business, push your business from indoor to outdoor with health and safety protocols, you may be able to operate. And not all businesses, it doesn't make sense for all businesses to do that. But for certain businesses where you can come, sit outdoors, come with your hair clean and wet, your hairdresser can then cut your hair and you can go back on your merry way. So certain types of businesses, it lends itself to some outdoor business operations. And again, we want to accommodate wherever possible. And if we can handle some of those businesses safely outdoors, by all means, be able to work with those businesses and take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, I'd like to find a nail salon that could do that. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Wheel those chairs out. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay, so now we talked about a spike in numbers, and it's been kind of volatile and sort of all over the map. What would you contribute the spike to?
Well, what's interesting is we've been able to attribute some of the spike in COVID to the Memorial Weekend and also the riots that occurred shortly thereafter. If you go 3 weeks out from those dates, we had a huge spike for about a 10-day period. So we can track certain things out in the community. The major spikes we have right now are not with our seniors. Our seniors are doing a fantastic job, as always, with face coverings, social distancing, and washing hands frequently. And they're staying at home more than the younger folks. So over 50 to 60% of the new cases of COVID-19 are from the younger generation, ages 20 to 45. And they're going to be out there in public. Not all of them are adhering to the health and safety guidelines. So that's very problematic. And what happens is these younger kids are getting out in public, they're getting COVID. While they might recover, they go home and infect their parents or their grandparents or their aunts and uncles that may be elderly. So that's why we really have to kind of nip this in the bud and make sure that everyone adheres to the health and safety guidelines for the protection of everyone.
Right. And there was a time there where the bars were open, and I think that's where droves of the young folks did end up, and they don't wear their masks inside. But then again, that's also problematic of the management. You know, we want the management to monitor it as well, but you know, you have most who do and some that don't, and the some that don't are ruining it for everybody else.
Right.
Yeah. So, gosh. All right. So moving forward, what are your recommendations that can help protect, you know, the health and safety of all of our residents?
Right. Well, for residents, when you're out in public, definitely wear your face covering, social distance, and wash your hands frequently. I keep hand sanitizer everywhere, in my purse, in my car, taking it into, to go places when you go to a restaurant, just to be extra cautious, to make sure that you keep yourself as healthy and safe as possible so that people around you can also be healthy and safe. So adhering to those guidelines, and for businesses to adhere to those guidelines as well.
Right. And I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask, if someone wanted to tell a supervisor or a city manager or whatever, if they found a place that wasn't adhering, what do they do?
Depending on the type of business, you would contact our healthcare agency if it's for environmental health.
Okay.
If it's a business that's serving, for instance, alcohol indoors when they shouldn't, you would call the Alcohol and Beverage Commission.
I see.
So depending on the type of business, if you want to report something, depending on what's going on, you would call a different agency. But if you need to get specific guidelines out there to individuals, they can always call the county first, explain what they saw, and the county can direct them through our hotline to the appropriate agency they need to contact.
Okay, perfect. That's great to know. So testing. Now, testing is, you know, obviously a big deal, and we've seen high numbers of testing. So where do we stand with testing in our community, not just here in Laguna Woods, but all over Orange County?
We are really ramping up testing right now. And so for individuals living in Orange County, we now have a drive-through testing site in Anaheim at the Anaheim Convention Center. And we're working on opening up another, hopefully, drive-through testing site in Costa Mesa in the not too distant future. We have capacity to test about 9,000 individuals a day. So currently in Orange County, we have about 15 sites for testing. And we offer free testing to residents via appointments. They can go to the county website and go to the COVID-19 link, and that will put them right through to get an appointment for testing if they want to be tested. And then we're also working on contact tracing. So someone who tests positive for COVID, we want to make sure that everyone they've been in contact with for the prior week or so, that we contact those individuals to self-quarantine and also get tested. We have a case and contact investigator team, or what we call our CCI team, that gets out into the public and make sure that we work through the contact tracing process. And then third is also enforcement. The state has launched a multi-agency enforcement strike team. There are 10 agencies in total throughout the state of California. And these are to assist counties and law enforcement to basically help enforce the state and county guidelines relative to adhering to wearing a face covering and social distancing and so on. And that's going to be really helpful. And also making sure that our businesses are in compliance too.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's fairly new then, right? The enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you'll have to use it? And I mean, different areas, I guess, would require different enforcements, right?
We don't know if we'll have to use it in Orange County, but we know that if we do, we've got this strike team that is available on a moment's notice. We just call them and boom, they're right in our county. So having that in our back pocket to utilize if we need backup for a sheriff's department or our county staff, it's nice to know that we've got some reinforcement from the state level to ensure that we get compliance with the state guidelines.
Okay, that's great. That's great. What is the county doing right now to help local businesses?
We're doing a number of things. Businesses have been shut down for a significant period of time. Some are now fully reopened, some are partially open, some are not open at all. So in order for those businesses that are struggling, we have a couple of different things. One is the Small Business Grant Relief Program. We had $15 million of CARES Act funding that was allocated to each district. So all of the cities in my district, the 5th district, plus the unincorporated areas, we had $15 million to allocate to small businesses and to nonprofits. And we're now through the 3rd cycle of awarding those grants. They were up to $10,000 each. And the program is now closed, but we've awarded $14.5 million to small businesses and nonprofits. So more than 1,400 county businesses and nonprofits right here in South County received grant proceeds. And that's really going to help them get through this cycle of having to close down all or partially, and then also to reopen and to be able to stay reopened. And then another thing we have is the food distribution event. We have one coming up on Wednesday, July the 29th. It'll be a drive-through, or you can bring a stroller or cart. It's free food for those in need. And please come one, come all. We're going to have fresh produce, dairy products, bread, desserts, protein, and also canned goods. It's from 9 o'clock to 11:30 at the outlets in San Clemente. And at the last food drive we had in Laguna Hills at the Laguna Hills Mall, we had over 1,000 families that received fresh produce and food. So any senior that can make it down to San Clemente, please join us on July the 29th, and you'll get a whole carload of great fresh food and other food related products that you can utilize for the next couple of weeks.
Great.
And then the third item we have is the Nutrition Gap Program. And this is for seniors or persons with disabilities and other individuals that are experiencing any food insecurity during the COVID-19 crisis. We have $1 million per district that's being allocated. We just finished a gap study to figure out where the needs are in South County and to identify a program. So stay tuned, and I'm sure by next month I'll have more information on this nutritious program that we're going to offer. This is an adjunct also to the Great Plates program as well. So we have a multitude of things, especially for our seniors, whether it's the drive-through food drives or home delivered meals to you. And these are at no charge. A number of the programs will run through the end of July and some through the end of December. So stay tuned. Take a look at our county website for 5th District to get information on the programs that are coming online. And if they have any concerns just relative to the food drive or any upcoming activities or events, they're also welcome to contact our board office and contact me for information. And I know times are so stressful right now. We've been contacted by a number of seniors, and I just want to let everybody know, kind of in closing, that a lot of people are feeling anxious during these really challenging times. They're tired of staying home, but they don't want to go out as well because they don't want to get exposed to COVID-19. So they're getting anxious. There's a lot of anxiety. We have a mental services health hotline, and I'm going to give out that number. It's 714-991-6412. So 714-991-6412. And they can contact our county hotline at any time relating to testing, contact tracing, and that number at the county is 714-834-2000. 714-834-2000 for anything that is COVID-19 related. So we've got a lot of help to get information out to the public. Feel free to contact my board office or these hotline numbers, and we'll get you the information and answer your questions.
Thank you. I mean, it's an undertaking, I'm sure, for you and for your staff and everybody involved. And you're absolutely right. Everyone is very anxious. They're dying to get out, which is nice to know that they can in moderation, where they can go to places that are of the utmost safety precautions. So that's awesome. So thank you so much for all that you do and for joining us today.
You're very welcome. And as we all know, COVID-19 is not going away anytime soon. So we're all in this together, and we will get through it together. But I appreciate everyone out in the public, especially our great seniors in Laguna Woods. They are really doing a fantastic job with adhering to state and public health guidelines and wearing face coverings, social distancing, and washing their hands frequently. And that's making a big difference because our COVID numbers in Laguna Woods are extremely low. And it's to the great work by all of our seniors right there in the community. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And we'll be right back after this.